Testing, testing.
Good morning. And welcome to this service of worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. My name is Thomas Gregg, and I will be your worship associate for this morning. Our community is striving to become as varied as the blooms of the Sonora Desert. Whoever you are, whoever you have been, and whoever you are becoming, I invite you to bring your whole self here now. We no longer require that masks be worn in worship or in concurrent religious education. If you're feeling sick, we encourage you to join us from home on YouTube. Based on our last poll, UUCT members are committed to being fully vaccinated and boosted. For all of our sakes, especially those most vulnerable, please let's maintain that commitment. If you need to use the bathroom, there are 2 gender-inclusive bathrooms through the door to your left, down the hallway, and first left. I extend a special welcome to visitors and invite you to fill out a guest information card, which are located in the Welcome Center to your left and behind you, and in the newcomer section of our website. We will meet for social hour after the service right here in Goddard. There will be coffee, iced tea, lemonade, and some snacks, and of course, good company.
Good morning, friends. I'm Jamelia Omar. I'm our intern minister here, and I am grateful to be here with you all today. We often say we welcome you no matter how you came in today. Your whole complex, beautiful self is welcome here. And today is one of those days where we get to say out loud that sometimes being human is tough. And being human with other humans, even more tough. And then we add on this whole series of holidays and holy days that happen between October 1 and February 1 of the year. And sometimes being human with other humans is nearly impossible. It's that time of year is one that invites us to dig deep into our bag of coping. And if today is one of those days for you, we welcome you. If today is one of those days that you are rolling in with joy, floating on a cloud of lightness, we welcome you too. Find somebody that can celebrate that with you. Luckily, this church, is one place where you don't have to pretend to be anything other than what you are in this moment. Because as Gretchen Haley reminds us, grace meets us where we are. She says, there is nothing you need to bring with you to be welcome here. No right beliefs or proof of citizenship. No eternal optimism or clarity of conviction. No boundless courage or endless expertise. You do not need to know what brought you here or how you will solve that problem you are turning over and over and over in your mind. Your bills do not need to be paid. Your checkbook can be a mess. Your children may have been up half the night, your hearing aids might not be working, and your knees might be creaking. You do not need to be already perfect or even halfway perfect to belong in this circle where grace meets us where we are, but does not leave us where it found us. Where love resides in each of us, yet is somehow more than all. Where love, life, and love still pulse and rage and heal and transform, creating us and this new day anew once again. Come, let us worship together. Please join us in saying these words as we light our chalice by Katie Savannah Gelfand. We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude, as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is in the sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us. If you have a chalice or candle at home, we invite you to light it as we light our chalice here.
Would you please rise in body or spirit for the first song today? Let's do the first pass, call and response. I'll sing a line and you respond back to me with it. And then we'll sing it together again a second time all the way through, where we're all singing the same thing at the same time. So I'll sing a line and I'm going to point to you and you'll respond right back. Ready? Oh, we give thanks, for this precious day, for all gathered here, and those far away, for this time we share, with love and care, we give thanks for this precious day. Together.
Have you caught the theme for this month? Anybody? Gratitude. There we go. Very appropriately, probably. And frankly, I love the concept of gratitude, but I find it a difficult and slippery emotion to access unless I'm really paying attention. A few years ago, I started a blog because I'm a Gen Xer, and that's what we do, with the goal of encouraging myself to record 3 gratitudes every day. It was short-lived, but it was a nice effort. So as I was thinking about gratitude today, I went back to that blog. Here's some gems from 2010. October 26th, the title was That's What It's All About. Number 1 was scones. Number 2, strangers who make you feel less like a stranger. And number 3, good dental hygiene. I do not know what was going on that day. Wednesday, October 27th, 2010, I do know what was going on this day, and I bet you'll be able to guess. The title was The One in the Middle Was on the Right. You know that old folk song? Look it up, it's hilarious. Okay, the first one, vote early, vote often. This was the day I voted. It was really easy. There wasn't a line. I was in Texas. There wasn't a line, and I even met one of the candidates for school board. It was so much fun, I plan to go back and do it again tomorrow. Number 2, there but for fortune goes you or I. I am grateful that I live in a democracy where voting is an option. Knowing that our place of birth is chance makes me not proud of my country, but grateful for it and for the choices of my ancestors. Like all gratitude, this one brings a deep sense of responsibility for the stewardship of this country because, number 3, it's no easy walk to freedom. I'm grateful for all the people who fought for my right to vote. I only hope we continue this trend of general tolerance. 2010, oh, your optimism. So in looking back at that blog, if I could summarize those gratitudes, it's pretty, I don't want to say typical. My daughter would call me mid. Gratitude for my children, gratitude for my family, for my work, for my technology, for my living situation. And since 2010, I'm not sure that my gratitudes have changed much. But maybe they don't. Maybe that's the thing about gratitude, is that gratitude feels slippery because it's not about novelty. So often we're grateful for the same things over and over. John O'Donohue says, may you take time to celebrate the quiet miracles that seek no attention. And maybe this is what gratitude looks for, is these quiet miracles. And as I mentioned last week, gratitude is not generally in people's top list of emotions. So here's a test from last week. What are the top 3? Anger, sadness, and happy. Not fear, not gratitude, right? And maybe we think of gratitude as an emotion that reflects our deep appreciation for what we value, what brings meaning to our lives, and what makes us feel connected to ourselves and others. So gratitude is that deep appreciation. Unsurprisingly, there's overwhelming evidence that gratitude is good for us physically, emotionally, mentally. There's research that shows that gratitude is correlated with things like better sleep, increased creativity, decreased entitlement, decreased hostility and aggression, increased decision-making skills, decreased blood pressure. The list goes on and on. And in the 2010s, when I was doing my blog, there was this whole spate of research on different community groups, from mental health and healthcare practitioners, relationship between gratitude and loneliness, relationship between gratitude and social bonds. So lots of research came out in the 2010s, and the general consensus is gratitude is good for us. There was a meta study that I want to quote just a little bit of, titled, How Gratitude Connects Humans to Be the Best in Themselves and in Others. And they go through all of this evidence that points to reasons why gratitude is so good for us, and they conclude with, we argue that gratitude is foundational for human development, and that its advantages motivate self-improvement in people and enable them to work more effectively in social environments to achieve important goals. So it feels good, and there's research to prove that. The preeminent researcher, Robert Emmons, the leading scientific expert on gratitude, even goes so far as to write, "We notice the positive more, and that magnifies the pleasure we get from life. Instead of adapting to goodness, we celebrate goodness. We spend so much time watching things, movies, computer screens, sports, but with gratitude, we become greater participants in our lives as opposed to spectators." I think all of this is one of the reasons that even those of us with a complicated relationship to the Big T Thanksgiving holiday long for a holiday that allows us to slow down long enough to reflect on gratitude. We crave a holiday that invites us to think about and notice gratitude because gratitude is a thing we have to seek out. It doesn't come easily for a lot of us. So all of that research is all well and good, but we don't come here as primarily a people of psychology. We come as a people of faith, of community, of connection, of spirit. So where does gratitude live in our individual and collective theologies, philosophies, moralities? How do we live with gratitude? One way that I think that gratitude is specifically theological is that gratitude helps us to see what is there instead of what isn't there. It helps us to focus on what is there, right? For many people with a theology that includes a divine figurehead like a god or a goddess, goddesses or goddesses, seeing what is there is the divine itself. It helps us to notice that that is there for us. For others of us, seeing what is there might be seeing goodness in others, or the goodness in the unfolding of the natural world. Whatever your own personal highest good is, that's what gratitude has the power to call into focus for us. So where does your gratitude live? Where does gratitude live in your personal philosophy, theology, moral compass? And how do we live with an attention to gratitude? We call that paying attention spiritual practices, and we are, just a little plug, promoting, sharing spiritual practices with each other on Fourth Thursdays right here in this very room. Come and explore with us. And so a practice just means anything we do with attention and intention. Attention and intention. And spiritual just means that which lies in the gap between what I can experience and what I can explain. So anything that's in that gap. And for me, spiritual also means that which connects me to others, to the world around me, and deeply within myself. So I want to invite you into a spirit of meditation or reflection or deep thinking, whatever works for you, prayer for some of us. I want you to call up something for which you have profound gratitude. Maybe for you it's like my list. Maybe it's your children or grandchildren. Maybe it's the person down the street that brought you cake. Maybe it's the car that brought you here today. Maybe it's this earth that holds us and sustains us. Call that up to your body. Once you have that memory, I invite you to sink into your body and feel where that is for you. What does that gratitude feel like? Is it hot and burning? Is it cold and cool? Is it in your chest or your belly or your head? Is it in your heart? Does it have a shape or a smell? Is it heavy? Is it light? Hold that feeling. See if you can etch it on your heart. In a minute, I'm going to invite us into a breath. You can stay in quiet reflection, or you could share with your neighbor if they consent. Okay, a minute to shake that off. Share it with your neighbor. I want to invite you to bring your attention back here to the present, holding on to that feeling of gratitude as you can. Like I said, this is a slippery one. It's okay if it falls away. Our service has two titles, 2 words in the title. The first one is gratitude. The other one is grace. So let's move to grace and talk about grace. Our anthem for today is actually grace, and it starts with these words. It's how I hold my head up after I have missed the mark. It's how I know I'm loved when things are dark. It's how I stand when I'm feeling small, how I stand again after a fall. It's how I'm standing even here at all. Some people call it grace. And now, for some of us, I know this word grace is tied up in some real pain. You might have grown up hearing the term and feeling either it didn't apply to you, or that you had to earn it, or that in earning it, it came with too heavy a price to pay. Grace, as it's defined, usually just means something like unearned forgiveness or universal salvation, and that's how we get it as Unitarian Universalists. We inherit the concept of grace from our Universalist ancestors who were reflecting and reacting against the Calvinist belief of original sin and the depraved nature of the human being. They wanted to throw that all out. They said there was and there still is and there can be this debate about how much grace or forgiveness you use are granted. Either we're fully forgiven at all moments. Some people might argue, especially at death, we are fully and completely forgiven. And whether we have to earn it in some way or we have to wait for it, these debates are ongoing and very lively. The agreement, though, is that we are ultimately forgiven, given grace. There is no eternal punishment. That's our heritage. And given this heritage, maybe we here in this room can define or redefine the concept of grace for ourselves, maybe just for this moment, and maybe we'll hold it lightly. Maybe it just means a do-over, or I will try again, as in Mary Radmacher's statement, courage does not always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. That is grace. Sometimes grace comes to us as patience, gentleness, forgiveness, a second chance. The composer of our anthem, Elizabeth Alexander, shared thoughts about grace and her process of writing this anthem. She said, it took me 5 years to write grace. Grace felt infinitely immense and infinitely intimate at the same time, making it impossible for to get my hands around this concept. The very word grace for her came with this cultural baggage. Springing from the same Latin root which brought us words like gratitude, gratis, and gratuity, grace is all about generosity, freely bestowed, irrespective of whether that bounty has been earned. Personally, I'm drawn to this concept too much to leave it only to a limited definition of grace, only coming from a single male God that I have to earn in order to get. Frankly, I need grace too much to leave it to somebody else's theology. And that's why it's a part of my theology. UUs need grace if we are seriously going to strive for our own current fourth principle. A sincere, free, and responsible search for truth and meaning means that we will fail. We will make mistakes. I am going to make mistakes, and I am going to change my mind. And that's why grace is so important. Because what do we do when that happens? How do we stay in community when that happens? Grace. Grace given freely and gratefully accepted. So can we reflect a little bit on grace? I want to invite you into that reflective, meditative, prayerful space. Take a deep breath. I invite you to think about when the last time you experienced grace was. Did you accept it? Did you offer it? What was that feeling for you? How did that feel to either offer or to accept grace? And where does that live in your body? What does it feel like? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it gentle? Does it move quickly? Move slowly? Does it have a shape or a smell? Maybe grace tastes like chocolate chip cookies. Hold that feeling for a minute. Because grace, too, is a slippery emotion. And so when we put gratitude and grace together, we have these two feelings that slide away from us quickly and easily, and we have to pay attention to notice when they come. But I put them together for a reason, because I think these two human emotions enhance each other. When I have a deep appreciation, when I have gratitude, for a person, for example, I can more freely give grace when they inevitably disappoint me. When I extend grace to somebody, for example, I stay in relationship, or I can heal relationships that are damaged. And when I receive grace, maybe that grace allows me to bypass shame and guilt and instead be thankful for the person offering grace and for the learning I can take from the moment and so many more things. So as you enjoy the rest of the service, I wonder how these two ideas are intertwined for you. This might be a good social hour topic. In a few minutes, our great teachers of grace and gratitude are going to join us. Our children will join us in a little bit. And I wanted to say these words from Reverend Molly Bolton, who reminds us, we are grateful for children teaching us that gentleness, care, play, and imagination are our birthrights. We are grateful for elders, human flora and fauna, who hold stories of our belonging. We are grateful for the wisdom of the land, who shows us there is enough for all when we take only what we need. We are grateful for those who mend, lend, and collaborate their way into abundant living, teaching us the richness of divesting from corporate greed. We are grateful for dreamers, singing and dancing and planting forth the world to come. We are grateful for organizers whose strategies and historic memories shake loose chains of violation. We are grateful for the courageous, whose solidarity has teeth, whose compassion risks something. We are grateful for comrades who throw sand in the cogs of the machine of oppression. We are grateful for truth tellers, truth yellers, waymakers, pattern breakers. And our gratitude is not a flippant thing. It does not gloss over violence. It does not forget about grief. It holds it in its trembling hands, the preciousness of living, feels the weight of all that has been lost, draws us into a deeper connection with all that could be, blooms us into a better way of being. Grace allows us to show up, warts and all, and to move right to the room of shame into gratitude. I am thankful that I arrived today, and I am welcomed part of community, that I belong here. I begin to embody the truth that I do not have to fit in. I too can belong.
It's how I hold my head up after I have missed the mark. It's how I know I'm loved when things are dark. Some people call it grace. Everyone's soul. That's not how it works with grace. That's how I know it's grace.
One purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather here to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring human beings closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will sustain this self-supporting church and its many ministries. If you are joining us on live stream, you can send a check to the office or give online at uuctucson.org/donate. If you are here in person, the ushers will now come around with the offering baskets to collect your donations.
So we brought our young friends in because I have a story for us this morning, and you all have a part. You ready to learn your part? It's not hard, I promise. Okay, so your part is bad luck, good luck, who knows? So try it with me. Bad luck, good luck, who knows? Got it? Okay, so this story exists in many different traditions. This one is attributed to the Zen Buddhist tradition, but good luck, bad luck, who knows? There was once an old farmer. Every day the farmer used his horse to help work in the fields and keep his farm healthy. One day, the horse ran away. All the neighbor villagers came over and said, "Oh, your horse ran away. What will you ever do?" "Thank you," the farmer responded, "but who knows?" The villagers were confused, but decided to ignore him, like you do with your neighbors. Okay, so a few weeks went by, and one afternoon, while the farmer was outside working, he looked up and he saw his horse, and that horse had brought 10 other horses with it. So here's this whole herd of horses to help work in the fields. The villagers come by again, and they're like, "Wow, this is such good luck." And the farmer says, "Thank you, but bad luck, good luck, who knows?" A few weeks later, the farmer's son came over to visit and help his father work on the farm. While they're outside working with these brand new horses, the farmer's son fell and broke his leg. The villagers again come over to commiserate and say, "Oh, how awful, this is such bad luck." And the farmer says to him, "Thank you, but bad luck, good luck, who knows?" A month later, the farmer's son was still recuperating and wasn't able to walk or help around the farm at all when a regiment from the army came over. They were looking for all the able-bodied young men, of course, to go and work in the army with them. When the regiment came to the father's house and they saw that he had a broken leg and couldn't take him, they passed on by and left him there. Of course, all the other villagers came over and said, "Oh, what amazing luck, your son was spared from the army." And the father responds, "Thank you, but bad luck, good luck, who knows?" The farmer, his son, the horse, and even the village experienced both grace and gratitude. Where did you see gratitude in the story? Anybody? Where was there gratitude in the story?
The farmer said, "Thank you, always."
Oh, we said thank you. Was there any grace here? Yeah? Where? Not having to go fight in the war. Unearned forgiveness. Maybe in getting the 10 extra horses? Who knows?
This is an unplanned thing. Would you stand as you were able and sing "When Our Heart Is in a Holy Place"? Which is 1008 if you are using a hymnal, and the words will be on the screen. If not, excuse me. Okay, sorry.
When we trust the wisdom
be seated.
In honor of our focus today on gratitude and grace, I invite us to expand our stones ritual just a little bit. Our shared bowl, which we use each week, is strong enough to hold the big rocks, our collective joys and sorrows, and also our heartaches and our heart songs, our celebrations and mournings, our grudges and forgivenesses. It can also hold the smaller stones that added to our signify our individual ones. We offer gratitude for the long stewardship of this land that we call home from the desert people who came here first and still steward this place. We honor the Hohokam, the Yavapai, the Tahana Atham, the Yaqui, and the people who no longer exist as tribal entities. And we who live in the desert know that water is a life-sustaining gift and a scarce resource. Let's remember those who are walking through the desert right now without access to water and feel grateful for the water that we are able to add to our bowl. We also bring to mind those who are seeking to assure greater access to water in the desert as we pour water from a plastic jug similar to the ones used by our ministry partner, No More Deaths. So if you have a grace, a joy, a gratitude, or a sorrow to share, I invite you to go to menti.com and you can use this code 1504-4582. Brian is here to help, and I bet you have a neighbor that has a device that could help too. But those of you that are in the sanctuary, and I especially want to invite our young friends to do our gratitude and grace ritual with us, is come down the center aisle, and you may place a stone in the bowl and imbue it with that feeling from your heart that we talked about of either grace or gratitude, joy or sorrow. Thank you. our mentee, we have grateful for 21 singers in the choir. Is that possible? Yay! I have gratitude for the many UUCT friends that shared Thanksgiving with my family and the grace of the hostess. Remembering Joyce's birthday and Christina's death at this time of year. That's a heavy one. Grateful for time with family this week. Grateful for the grace of UUCT. I feel gratitude for this beloved community and all visitors here today. This gratitude feels heavy because it is foundational. So grateful for the life I live and for the grace of each new day. I believe that as long as we are alive, we have a chance to do better, worse, or just be. Missing my mom on my first Thanksgiving without her, but grateful to be sharing in Arizona, sharing with my daughter. For all of those unspoken joys and sorrows and graces and gratitudes, we add more stones to our bowl.
And now please join me in saying our words of chalice extinguishing, Abundant Grace by Melissa Jeter. From this ground, let us sow mercy, justice, and compassion. Let us offer our